What's going on, guys? 2020 is just the gift that keeps on giving, huh? Just to preface this isn't going to be the most fun video I've ever made. I've spent countless ways trying to think about how to spin this into a more fun version of what I'm going to be talking about today. And this isn't really the Smash video I really intended on making at first. I intended on making kind of a fun, kind of mockumentary style Smash video, kind of summing up my experiences in tournaments and everything like that. And maybe I'll get around to making a video like that down the line, but the more I thought about it, this just didn't really seem the time. Because this has been a very heavy week and a half for those who have been in the Smash community and those just in esports in general. So I thought it would be a better idea to just talk about what I've been feeling and the thoughts that have been swirling around my head because of that. So getting right into it, in case you haven't heard, there have been a lot of allegations and accusations and just guilt all around in the Smash community lately. And not just empty allegations, a lot of these figures have come forward and admitted to what they did and henceforth cut themselves off indefinitely from the community. You have top players like Zero and Nairo, and you have commentators like Keitaro and D1, just to name a few, who have openly admitted to doing completely terrible and vile acts of sexual misconduct, and it's really heartbreaking to see as a fan of those. I can't sit here and pretend like I saw any of this coming like any other Smash player. I've just looked up to these guys for years at this point. So the disappointment we've all been feeling in the community lately has just been baffling. It's just been extremely disappointing. There's no way around that. A lot of people have branded this era something like a fresh start, kind of a soft reboot, kind of a reckoning of some sorts. Because sadly, it isn't just those top players and figures I mentioned. There have been several women and several victims of abuse within the community that have come forward with their own stories. And it kind of makes you realize this has been a problem in the community that a lot more people just weren't aware of, myself included. So where am I coming at this personally? I've been in the Smash community for about 4 years now. It started off being a really fun hobby in my college years, just to kind of pass the time and meet new friends. It was great. You got to meet a lot of people with shared interests and play a game you really enjoy and just kind of bond along the way. It was great times. I met some of my best friends in college through Smash. So when we would travel out to majors, we would meet these top players and figureheads of the community who we would deem our heroes, so to speak. 3 years ago at Frostbite 2017, it was a huge major, my first huge tournament. It was like over 1,000 people there. It's where I got that Falco pillow, actually. Where Falco was my main character. I would always play him in brackets, and when you have a main, you often look up to top players to figure out not just how to play them, but you become fans of that top player who represents your character at a top level. So 3 years ago, I met Keitaro, who was like a much more prominent player back then and also a commentator. I'm like, hey, Keitaro, man, you're like my hero. It's great to meet you. And he just kind of looked back at me like, hey, man, I try to be everyone's hero. And I was just like starstruck. I was like, whoa, I just met like my favorite player. The same thing happened when I met Zero at Smash and Splash the following year. Even before I was a competitive Smasher myself, seeing players like Zero and Mewtwo King and all them, like their rise to dominance, it was like really inspiring. So when I actually got to meet them, it was just fantastic. I was like, wow, these guys are really chill. They're just people. And then all this stuff comes out and they're accused of all these things of sexual misconduct, and it's really terrible. It's just from statutory rape to harassment, sexual harassment, and just actual rape. The list goes on. It's terrible. I'm going to leave a link in the description with a Reddit thread kind of compiling all the cases so you can look into it for yourself if you want to. But it's been absolutely heartbreaking news as a Smash fan and as a competitor myself, because I don't want... Not only is it really sad to see people actually leaving the community because of this, which is completely warranted, it makes sense. But for the newer fans that want to come in, I want them to see, I don't want them to just label every Smasher as just a pedophile or a predator just because of these things that are happening. Because for me personally, the community has been nothing but welcoming. Like I said, it's how I've met some of my best friends over the last 4 years. And it was just a simpler time where friends would just get together and play a video game. It didn't have all this baggage to deal with. So the idea that going forward, new people from the outside looking in will just brand us as these things we're not is just really frustrating and heartbreaking. But the night is darkest before the dawn. There is some bright side to look up all this. It's great that these players are finally being outed now rather than later. But again, it's just absolutely mind-blowing that we feel like we've been manipulated and tricked over all these years to support just utterly vile people. But it's not the whole community. There are some legitimately good people out there that strive to make the community better. Figureheads like EE, like Leffen even, like TK Breezy that are just using their platform for good and making sure that stuff like this can never happen again. It kind of gives me hope that things can actually get better in this community and that we can strive to make a change. This has been a huge moment of disillusionment for me and hundreds of thousands of people all over the world. It's kind of insane that you have to kind of take your heroes and not just put them on a pedestal blindly and support everything you do and recognize that they're flawed humans that make terrible choices, and some of those choices are downright unforgivable. It's not saying that people can change, but we can't welcome these people back into our communities with open arms just because they were our favorite commentator or player. It doesn't work like that. It shouldn't work like that. But you see countless fanboys of certain players and commentators like, oh no, he's changed. That was so long ago. Let's bring him back. And it's like, no, we need to put our foot down on this. We need some accountability. So it's encouraging to see the community generally going in that direction. It's going to take a lot of work. We're definitely going to have to implement a lot of new policies as far as the proximity and minors, and if they're allowed, they need guardians, right? They need some sort of guardian or parental figure when traveling to these major events, especially out of state, to prevent anything like this ever happening again. Because when you have grown women sexually grooming minors, it's just extremely disgusting, and these things can happen right under our noses just because not enough people are paying attention. But like I said, now that this is being drawn to light now, I feel like we're gonna head in a much better direction in the future, and I'm staying hopeful. I'm trying to stay hopeful about this, although it's a very, very dark time. So those are kind of my thoughts condensed on everything going on here. I know this isn't the most fun, cheery video I've ever done. Like I said, I'll probably get around to making a more in-depth video of my experiences with tournaments one of these days, but given everything that's been going on, it just didn't seem like the right time. You can follow me in the links in the description below. Make sure you smash that like button and hit subscribe on your way out. I am Pack. Thanks so much for hearing my perspective, and I'm out for now.